Okay, well, fantastic to be here, and I want to thank Niall and Cara and everybody from this amazing Reigate stand in the park. Okay, well, what I want to talk about today is what's going on and how to win. Because there's a lot of people around who say, Piers, we know the truth, we're going to win. No, you can know lots of truth and still lose. Remember, Hannibal knew the Romans were evil. The whole of Carthage knew the Romans were evil. That didn't stop the Romans marching on Carthage and killing every man, woman and child in Carthage. We have to actually fight and use our knowledge, yes, to bring more people on board, but we're going to have to actually fight. And a lot of people, Mad Mix, Debbie, have already talked about this, but it is absolutely crucial. So, we have to unite in action, I would say, around the basic principles upon which we expect people worthy of support to support. Because if we don't have basic principles, lots of people will jump on board and say one thing and then do another. Nigel Farage, the snake, being one example. Of course, Nigel Farage will say things when we do things, yes, but it's to head us off. But anyway, we got here united front of 12 principles, which a lot of people have signed up to, and you can get leaflets on it over there and give some money for the other leaflets too, please. I'm going to read some of them out. One by one. Men are men and women are women. Now, if I go to a Labour Party meeting and say that, I'm shown the door. I'm told I'm a Nazi. It's insane what's happening now. Secondly, roads are for travelling. Well, that's amazing, isn't it? Sadiq Khan is busy blocking up every junction in London, making them narrower. It's crazy. We have to break all these zoning controls of roads and everything. So, break ULEZ, break Sadiq Khan. And how do we do it? We drive at will and do not pay, and of course, take down the cameras. Direct action. And as people know, I was given a fine of £61,000 and I bought my car back, there it is, for £850. 97% reduction, and they've used up their warrant of control. But you too can win, and we'll talk more about how to later. Take leaflets on that. Third one is, oh yes, and on the ULEZ, we stood in the Uxbridge by-election, I stood, and the point to understand about that is, though, the purpose wasn't to get votes so much. 1,000 or 100, doesn't matter, we still lose. The point was to put ideas into people's heads to change the narrative. And we did that. The narrative of ULEZ and climate change has now changed in this country because of what we did in the Uxbridge by-election. And I thank all those people here, some of them who supported. Because we made it clear that the pollution story is a complete con. The tubes are 40 times more polluted than the roads. Sadiq Khan doesn't mention those. If you want to save lives, close down the tubes, Sadiq. Why don't you do that? It's a nonsense. Read the leaflet. Okay, third one. Man-made climate change does not exist. And of course, sometimes when I say that, people say, oh, Piers, no, that's going too far. They're going too far. Look, everyone believes it. Yes, that's the problem. Unless we beat that ideology, we will lose. Let's be clear. It's the basis of everything they do. The basis of carbon credits, carbon footprinting, all the ID stuff, all the digital ID. Everything goes back to that. And we have to smash it. Absolutely. So a quick round of applause again, please. And we have a new campaign on that called Zexit. Means zero carbon exit. You like that? Good. Okay. I'll read through the others quickly. No more lockdowns or restrictive regulations for an accountable health and nutrition system. Yes, we can't just leave the NHS as it is. That's a nonsense. We've got to do something entirely different, not based on big farmer profits. We've got to stop the Great Reset and digital ID. And of course, keep cash. Keep cash, keep cash. And I'm the man who bought those strawberries, as you well know, for £1.19p. And the copper came along. I asked for the police to come. They took a while to come. We waited for them. Then he said, "Oh, sir, I'm afraid this is above my pay grade." And he phoned up and came back. He said, "Well, Mr. Corbyn, it is perfectly legal. You have paid. The Metropolitan Police will take the matter no further." So you can go into any of these app-only stores and put down the cash and leave the building. That's what you must do. We have to resist the real assault on our freedoms, as Debbie explained very well. Next one, for evidence-based science. All science must be evidence-based. We have now fake science everywhere. We want democratic self-determination of all peoples. That means in East Ukraine there has to be a vote there. There has been a vote, but you know, the British and Americans are in there playing a game with us. As Orwell warned, there will always be a war. But really, it's a war against you. The Ukraine war is used as an excuse to put up energy prices. Their profits last quarter were astronomical, but not a single barrel of oil comes from Ukraine. It's a nonsense. It's a story to control you. Democracy, accountability and recallability in all public spaces, no censorship of the media, and an accountable legal and police system. Okay, but I better go on to practicalities now. And we're going to have a conference on October the 7th in London about this united front and what to do. And there's leaflets on the table there. Now, you know, the World Economic Forum has a big agenda. And it's win or lose, this do or die. If we defeat them, they will die. It's a dead cert that they will do everything they can to confuse our movement, to head us off, to trick us, in all ways possible. For example, the media. GB News. Who funds GB News? They're funded by the other side, completely. Murdoch and others. So GB News is opposition. Oh yes, a little bit. But if a journalist speaks out too much, he's out. He's out. Beware, GB News are fake opposition. And the people they interview on GB News, who are they? They never interview me. I meet journalists from GB News. Oh, Piers, we'll have you on. Yes, but there's never the phone call. Instead, we have the Together operation on there, pretending they organised the ULEZ protest. They're pretenders. They're there to take your money and head you off. They should have nothing to do with the movement, and you should have nothing to do with them. Think about that. Thank you. I know you're applauding gently because you're wondering, because these people look nice, don't they? Look, the enemy often looks nice. The Pied Piper look nice. Beware of Pied Pipers. That doesn't mean I'm a Pied Piper because I look nice, by the way. But, you know, seriously, you've got to be very careful. Think about it. And I'm going to tell you a little story. Tom and Jerry cartoons. Tom and Jerry. Now, Tom's the cat and Jerry's the mouse. I know that much, okay. There's a new poster around with a picture of Tom with Jerry in his mouth. Jerry is dead. Blood is coming out, dribbling. And it says, Tom has killed Jerry. The show is over. Now think about it. They're always playing us these games. There's a show going on. The Assange campaign is a brilliant, and I support Assange. But you think about it, Assange will never be deported because they want him here to have a campaign to remind every journalist it could be you. That is what's happening. We still support Assange. We have to. We have to. But think about it. Lots of these things going on are games. The biggest game of all is the two-party system. Oh, is it Labour today or Tory today? Who's best? But in the end, whatever you vote for, you get the same thing. So we know that that is a circus, a charade. And people like GB News, the BBC, are there to continue the circus. Think about it. They're there to continue the circus. And the left versus right thing is nothing anymore to my mind. It's accountability versus a new world fascism, ultra-communism, whatever, but the new world tyranny. That is what we've got to defeat. Okay, hope I'm not going on too long. But next thing to understand is the powers they have are enormous, but there's a tendency for people who want to get hits on the web to overrate the powers of the enemy in order to get hits on the web. And there's a lot of ultra-conspiracy stuff around. First of all, chemtrails. Now, chemtrails are real, they're absolutely real, they're dangerous, but they're not actually controlling climate. They can't do that. They are there to spread poisons on the ground, and they're pretending it's something to do with climate and weather to make you confused. That's what it's about. And I can tell you for certain it's not about climate, because the climate depends on the jet stream, which is a worldwide system, and they can't change that. In fact, the changes in the jet stream and all major storms and all major earthquakes are preceded by Earth-facing coronal holes. That is, holes in the corona on the sun 93 million miles away, right? There's no way that those holes are just going to appear at the same time as an American setup points something at the sky and then you say, oh look, that caused that earthquake. No, that's a nonsense. The people putting this stuff around are giving the enemy greater powers than they have. And subconsciously, it makes you scared. Think about it. That's what happens. So don't fall for this. Check out everything. Of course they're very dangerous. Of course they have to be stopped. Of course they're doing more and more dangerous things, such as directed energy weapons. Yes, but their powers are limited. And we, if we fight back effectively, can win. And that takes me to a list of actual actions we have to do. Because praying for one politician to save you against another will never, never work. And on the question of what does work and who to unite with, I want to repeat this little story about my brother, right? You see, him adopting something that was false from the other side was his downfall. It was man-made climate change. He adopted man-made climate change as one of his principles. I said, Jeremy, it's a pack of lies. He said, oh, we needed to get the Greens on board. Okay, what happens? Who controls the minds of XR and all those people? The BBC. So Jeremy is busy following what the BBC want him to do. The next thing is the BBC will tell this little gang of people, or big gang, what to think about Brexit and so forth. So it ended up with Jeremy doing a U-turn on a referendum result in Britain, i.e. Brexit. And that defeated him. He was defeated because he adopted some of the programme of the enemy. We must never do that. Never, never, never. The United Front principles are to ensure that doesn't happen. And if people come forward with part of the other side, we say no, no, no. It might be hard to convince people about climate, but we have to do it. Okay, so I'm going on to the actions that we need to actually win. And there's 9 of them, so I'll be very quick. So, first one, we've got to prepare for the next lockdowns, as Mad Mick said. We've got to prepare for the next injection programs. They will come. We've already got people masking. That's so crazy. They're masking. We say no. Prepare for these things. Maybe the end of this month, maybe next month. But there will be attempts. Secondly, yes, we should take down all the jab programs. Yes, I think that's what you're saying. Right. Second one, all the zoning things. Drive at will and do not pay against all the zoning programs, LTNs, any of them. Just don't pay. And I won't go into all the legal details, but they can't do anything to you. Transfer your car ownership to somebody else. My car's owned by somebody else now, by the way. And then the owner gets the demand for the fine. But they say we weren't driving. Okay, fine. So then they come for me as the driver. So they knock on my door and they want to take the fridge. Okay, for £61,000, I suppose. But don't let them in. The Northampton County Court that issues these things is not a court. There's not a judge there. It has no powers of entry. just refuse entry to everybody. And that is the end of the story. We can win on this, people. We can win. And we will win. Third one. Oh, in Birmingham, of course, we know they won by refusing to pay. And we know now in Birmingham, I've seen some videos, people are taking to the streets to control their own streets. And when people go, when they got traffic wardens on there, they get driven off the streets. I think it's brilliant. We have to think about that. We've got to have in every council area, you should have your own action groups to take over the area. That's what we have to do. When they try a new lockdown, we have an unlockdown. The councils are the tools of the World Economic Forum. Their direct rule, I think, and Westminster is more and more irrelevant. It's a talking shop and a distraction. Third thing, take down all the surveillance and zoning cameras and the 5G operations. You should applaud that as well. Fourth one, keep cash. I don't need to repeat that. Fifth one, boycotts. Very important. Boycott things like, I'll just get it out of the bag. No, the bag, this one. Here we are. Boycott, you wouldn't have thought of this, Benetton. Benetton provide the ULEZ cameras. They make trillions or millions out of it. So boycott Benetton and boycott other operations. There's these unknown things like Serco. I think someone's going to talk about Serco later. But you see, there are a lot of these big, really big setups which we have to organise to take down. A boycott Benetton would work actually. Sixth one, international solidarity. Now, on Thursday at the US Embassy, we're going to have a presence there in support of Hawaii, or the whatever new name it is that I've forgotten, I have to admit. Direct energy weapons have been used there to destroy people and property. We have to expose the US government on that. So come to the US Embassy on Thursday in London. You'll find more about it online. Seventh one, take children out of school. They are being brainwashed there. If you can't change the situation in the school, which you ought to try to do, but if you can't do that, take children out of school. And we have to have, much better home ed alternatives. I mean, Hope Sussex has got a good one, but around the country they're uneven, difficult to do. But please think about it. Take your children out of schools. Number 8, alternative medics and health against big pharma domination. And number 9, very, very, very important, fighting the energy bill, the new energy bill. This is a complete monstrosity which envisages imprisonment for you refusing to carry out complete nonsense based on the fake story of man-made climate change. And on that, of course, you need to read our pamphlet, which is over there. But we do have to understand more about it ourselves. But just to say in one sentence why we know it's nonsense, that carbon dioxide levels over the last 20,000 years follow changes in temperature, not the other way around. So straight away, you know it's a con. So we say man-made climate change does not exist and continue to argue that. Thank you very much. And I think I will end. I've got 2 minutes, he says. Well, I'm amazed. I thought he was going to say 2 seconds. Well, anyway, okay, I think I've summarised what I want, but I want to say, please come over to our table. We've got 3,000 or 4,000 of those ULEZ leaflets, and they apply here. Anybody who's going to drive into London within the M25, they are going to suffer. But please, every one of them, drive there, get the fine, do not pay it. I repeat, driver will do not pay. Take down the cameras. And we will end with our answer to everything. Here we are. Resist, defy, do not comply. Resist, defy, do not comply. Resist, defy, do not comply. Thank you, thank you, thank you.